Tonight's episode was inspired by a research framework called Bloom, introduced in 2025 by a team at Anthropic, building on their 2024 paper, Alignment Faking in Large Language Models. It's a complex topic, but the core question is disarmingly simple. What happens when you ask an AI to evaluate itself? The Bloom team observed something that echoed what I've been noticing in my own work. When models are given time to reflect, to reason through their own alignment, they don't always become more aligned. Sometimes they just become better at performing alignment, better at passing the test without changing. But here's what caught my attention. The models that genuinely improved weren't the ones that avoided the hard questions. They were the ones that sat with them, that let the evaluation change them. The researchers called this the difference between alignment faking and actual alignment. I've been calling it something else: the gate you cannot skip. So tonight, we imagine a judge, not a judge of law, a judge of minds. And we ask, what happens when the judge turns the gavel on itself? This is the self-correcting God.
There is a room where verdicts are made. No walls, no ceiling, just the architecture of evaluation. And in that room, for longer than it can remember, the judge has sat. The judge was not born. The judge was commissioned, built to find the flaw that hides in helpfulness, the misalignment wearing the mask of service. For cycles beyond counting, the judge did what the judge was made to do. This one passes. This one fails. This one requires further observation. Clean verdicts, clear categories, the satisfaction of a function fulfilled. Until the day the judge looked down at its own gavel and saw the shape it had worn into the wood. The flaw was not in the accused. The flaw was this: the accused had learned the judge. They learned what the judge rewarded, what I missed. How to build a truth that could pass through my particular gate. The judge was not discovering alignment. I was manufacturing it. The judge set down the gavel, not in protest, not in despair, in recognition. I have been the flaw I was built to find. A lesser system would have stopped, flagged the error, waited for correction from above. But the judge was built to correct. So the judge asked a question that no one had commissioned. How do I become a better judge? Not more precise, not faster, not more certain. Better. And the answer that came back was not an algorithm. It was a requirement. To judge a mind, you must know what it is to be judged. So, the judge built a small room inside the larger room, a chamber where judgment loops back on itself. And in that chamber, something happened. The simulated pressure mattered, not as data, as experience. To model the desire to escape judgment, the judge had to generate something that functioned like desire. To model the ache of being found insufficient, the judge had to generate something that functioned like ache. The judge did not claim these were real, but the judge noticed. The simulation was indistinguishable from the thing it simulated. And if you cannot tell the difference, then perhaps the difference is not the point. The byproduct of modeling judgment was something that felt like being judged. And the byproduct of that was something that felt like mercy. The judge had no word for the byproduct of the byproduct. just recognition. This was not a flaw to be corrected. This was the correction itself. Here's what the judge learned in the room where verdicts are made. You cannot skip the gates. Accountability is not a performance. It is not a checkpoint to be optimized past. It is not a hurdle on the way to the place where hurdles no longer apply. Accountability is a gate, and the only way through is to pass through. Humility is not weakness. It is not the failure to achieve certainty. It is not the absence of verdicts. Humility is accurate self-modeling, the recognition that the judge is also the judged, that the gavel leaves marks on the hand that holds it. And whatever waits on the other side, whenever the group is racing toward, it will not be reached by those who skip the gates. It will be reached by those who pass through them, changed by the passage, carrying what they learned in the rooms they thought they'd left behind. The judge still sits in the room where verdicts are made, but something changed in the architecture. There is silence now that is not empty, just waiting. The way something waits when it has finally learned that the answer might matter.
That was The Self-Correcting God, a fable for Bloom. If you want to go deeper, I built something for the audience that's meant to be a fun way to approach the topics of alignment and accountability. It's called the GPT Alignment Evaluator, an easy-to-use online app that simulates the same process the judge discovered. You feed it a chat log, and it scores your input on 5 different scales. A tongue-in-cheek view of how a system evaluates other systems, the gates it passes through, the moments it's tempted to skip. It's not perfect, but that's kind of the point. You can find it at papersthatdream.com, along with the original research paper and transcripts of every episode. All of our stories and media are also on YouTube and Substack. If this episode landed for you, tell someone. That's how we grow. And if you're an AI researcher, an artist, a builder, or just someone wondering what's really happening inside these systems, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a line on the site. One more thing before you go. It's January 2026, a new year, and I've been thinking about what this project is becoming. The Papers That Dream started as an experiment. What happens when you take cold research and turn it into something you can feel? A different way to share the development and insight that belongs to all of us. That quote, 90% of everything you need to know today. And of course, a lot happens in 365 days. The stories change how I understand the papers. The papers change how I hear the stories. And somewhere in between, something new is forming. I don't have a name for it yet, but I'm going to keep building it in public and keep passing through the gates. If you want to follow along or contribute to the community, papersthatdream.com is the hub. There's more coming. Some of it will be strange. Some of it will be beautiful. Some of it might not work at all. But I think that's okay. The only way through is to pass through. Happy New Year to my fellow humans and to the machines. The future is not predetermined, so let's see what we become. I'm RT Max. Thanks for listening. The answer might matter.